The Yankees' offseason just took a massive turn. And if you are not paying attention right now, you are missing some absolutely critical moves that could define this entire championship window. We're talking roster cuts, difficult decisions, and changes that are reshaping how this team is built for 2026. Today, I've got breaking news on multiple players being let go, the reasons behind these moves, and what it all means for New York's push to get back to the World Series. This isn't minor league stuff. These are real decisions with major implications. Let's break it all down. But so we get into the chaos, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. We're pushing toward a major milestone here on the channel, and your support makes all the difference. Hit that like button too, because today's news deserves all the attention it can get. The Yankees aren't just making tweaks, they're completely reshaping the bullpen and depth chart heading into what could be the most important season of this core's run together, the biggest bombshell. The Yankees have non-tendered Clay Holmes. Yeah, you heard that right. One of their most important relievers over the last few seasons gone. Holmes has been a huge part of this organization for years, an integral piece of the bullpen puzzle. But Friday was the deadline for teams to tender contracts to arbitration-eligible players, and that's when tough decisions have to be made. Holmes was the biggest name to get cut. And honestly, it's not shocking when you look at the full picture. Holmes missed significant time last season with a shoulder injury that knocked him out for the postseason. He tried to come back early in 2025, pitched for about 2.5 weeks, and then had to shut it down completely. He ended up having surgery in June, which effectively ended his season and likely means he'll miss at least half of 2026. Maybe he's back after the All-Star break, maybe later. Point is, here is massive uncertainty around his availability and effectiveness. The situation mirrors what happened with other injured relievers recently. You are coming off major surgery. You are 1 year away from free agency, and you are eligible for arbitration at a number that's probably too high given the injury risk. Holmes made over $5 million last season and was projected to earn something similar for next year. MLB trade rumors had him at around $6 million. That's a lot of money to commit to a reliever who won't pitch for half the season and is coming off surgery with no guarantees he'll be the same pitcher when he returns. Here is the thing, though. This doesn't mean Holmes is done with the Yankees. According to reports, the front office has already had multiple discussions with Holmes and his agent about finding a path forward. The Yankees respect what he's done for the organization and want to continue conversations about bringing him back. But they need to see him throw off a mound first, need to see where his rehab is at, and then they can talk about a deal that makes sense for both sides. Think about the Tommy Cano situation. Similar injury concerns, similar timing, and the Yankees eventually brought him back on a team-friendly deal that worked out great for everyone. That could absolutely be the blueprint here. Non-tender Holmes now, let him rehab through the winter, and then when spring training rolls around and the 60-day injured list opens up, you sign him to a shorter deal at way less money. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe here is an option involved, but you are not committing $6 million to someone who won't contribute until August at the earliest. From a Holmes perspective, this actually gives him flexibility. He can explore what's out there, see if any team wants to take a flyer on him, and if not, he knows the Yankees are still interested. And let's be real. If you are Clay Holmes coming off surgery, where better to rehab and rebuild your value than with an organization that knows you, trusts you, and has the resources to maximize your recovery. Sign a cheap 1-year deal. Pitch well in the second half and then hit free agency next winter when you are healthy and can command a multi-year contract. When Holmes was at his best, he was elite, genuinely one of the best high-leverage arms in baseball. His sinker was filthy. He missed bats. He got ground balls, and he racked up saves for the Yankees. He led them in saves in multiple seasons and was a guy you trusted in the biggest moments. The injury luck has been brutal, missing postseason runs 2 years in a row, but the talent is still there. He's not a 100-mile-per-hour power arm who loses everything without velocity. His stuff is about movement and location, which typically plays better after Tommy John's surgery. Bottom line, I expect to see Holmes back in pinstripes at some point next season. It makes too much sense for both sides. The Yankees get a proven late-inning arm at a fraction of the cost, and Holmes gets to rebuild his value in a familiar environment before cashing in next offseason. Don't be surprised if this all circles back around in February or March now, let's talk about the other cuts, because Holmes wasn't the only casualty. The Yankees also non-tendered Ron Marinaccio and one other reliever whose situation is a bit different. Marinaccio hasn't pitched in 2 seasons after shoulder surgery and subsequent complications. He was a top pitching prospect a few years back, someone the organization was really high on, but injuries completely derailed his development. He missed all of 2024, had hip issues on top of the shoulder problems, and when he did pitch in AAA last year, the results weren't good. High walk rate, inconsistent command, and he just couldn't stay healthy long enough to build momentum. The Yankees called him up on the second to last day of last season, but immediately placed him on the 60-day IL to make room for another roster move. He still has one minor league option remaining, which means he has value to some organization willing to take a chance. But for the Yankees, with their 40-man roster crunch and all the moves they're trying to make this offseason, keeping someone who hasn't contributed in 2 years just doesn't make sense right now. It's unfortunate, because Marinaccio showed real promise before the injuries. But this is the business side of baseball. The Yankees need roster spots. They need healthy bodies ready to contribute on opening day. And guys coming off multiple surgeries with question marks just can't take up valuable space when you are trying to compete for championships. So where does this leave the Yankees bullpen? Right now, they've got 37 players on the 40-man roster, including 23 pitchers. That's a lot of arms, but they need quality late-inning options. With Holmes gone for now and these other moves, there are holes to fill. The Yankees are clearly prioritizing health and availability over past performance, which makes sense given how injuries wrecked their bullpen depth last postseason, asking them to be aggressive in free agency, looking for proven relievers who can handle high-leverage situations. They might also look at bounce-back candidates, guys who had down years but have upside if healthy. The front office knows the bullpen is critical, especially in October, and they're not going to leave it to chance. These cuts free up money and roster space to go after targets who can actually contribute from day one. The other aspect to watch is how these moves affect team chemistry and clubhouse dynamics. Holmes was well liked, a veteran presence who understood the pressure of pitching in New York. Losing guys like that isn't just about roster numbers, it's about leadership and experience. But that's the reality of running a championship caliber organization. Tough decisions have to be made, and the front office can't let sentiment override logic when building the best possible roster. Looking ahead to 2026, the Yankees are clearly in win-now mode. They came close last season, they've got a core that's still in its prime, and they're making aggressive moves to maximize this window. These cuts, as painful as they might be for fans who love these players, are part of that process. You trim the roster, you free up resources, and you go get the pieces that actually move.